Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah, we thank Allah Jalla wa Ala, our creator, our sustainer, the mighty, the majestic, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. We thank him for his many blessings. We thank him for allowing us to fast this blessed month and for bringing us together in a house from his houses. Brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah, we have with us today an esteemed guest, my good friend and our Shaykh, Ustadh Abu Taymiyyah, hafidhahullah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him immensely. He accepted our invitation at very short notice. So jazakallah khairan. And bi'idhnillah, after the lecture, although we'd love him to stay with us, he needs to travel to Bedford, which is located in the south. Those of you who are not too aware. So inshallah, after the lecture, the Shaykh will be going. But this is his masjid. He has an open invitation to Masjid Attaqwa in Sheffield. He doesn't need us to call him, inshallah. So he'll be back many times, bi'idhnillah, in the future. So jazakallah khairan, tafaddal mashkuran.
الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين بعثه الله شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا. I just want to take a moment now to thank the administration of the masjid, who are always very, very kind to invite me over. Ustadh Mustafa, who I've known alhamdulillah for a very, very long time. Likewise Sheikh Abdullah, who you guys have coming in and out of Sheffield all the time. You guys need to be benefiting from him. Right, before another one of your community slips away. Sheikh Muhammad Ali already ran off. Sheikh Abdullah might get away soon as well. So benefit from them as much as you can while you guys still have access to them. Right. My brothers and my sisters, the topic that I'm going to choose to speak about, I've spoken a lot about the month of Ramadan in the many lectures that I have been delivering, where they may have been the spiritual side of the blessed month of Ramadan, or the ahkam. We went through the ahkam, the rulings pertaining to Ramadan. And these are topics that are essential when it comes to this blessed month. However, looking at the crowd, and also what I know about Sheffield, I'm going to deliver a very different type lecture on this day today, inshallah ta'ala, which is a couple of days before the month of Ramadan comes to an end. You know, my brothers and my sisters, year in, year out, the month of Ramadan comes along. We fast, stay away from food, drink, sexual intercourse. And then as soon as the month of Ramadan comes to an end, we're back to square one again. One of the very common questions that I always get asked is, why is it that in the month of Ramadan my iman goes up, and then as soon as the day of Eid kicks in, my iman, my good feeling, the fulfillment, the contentment that I had in the month of Ramadan goes crashing down? Why? There is a feeling that I tasted or felt while the month of Ramadan was going on, which I really, really miss. What's happened to me? Why don't I feel like that anymore? Right? I'm going to tell you guys an incident. Some of you guys may have heard me mention this in the past, but I'll mention it again. My own relative said this to me, aka drug dealer. Right? This is a drug dealer saying this, brothers and sisters, so listen up. And there's a lot of wisdom in that which he uttered. Because of course it falls in line with what the Messenger ﷺ mentioned to some degree. A couple of years ago, can everyone move forward? The masjid is full to the brim, guys. And we need to fill up every acre of space. There's some space over there as well.
We'll have an expansion, inshallah.
Inshallah ta'ala, there'll be an expansion for the masjid as well. May Allah bless you all. be patient inshallah ta'ala till the program is finished. I know there isn't much space and they were all crammed up and squeezed up together. You guys only came to the house of Allah, to the masjid, to the mosque, because you want to benefit and you want to better yourself as an individual. And I'm hoping inshallah ta'ala we can change the perspective. Before I mention that incident, I think there is something extremely important that I need to mention. Both to my brothers and sisters who have attended, we may see individuals walking into the masjid that we don't normally see. To my sisters who may see a sister walking in who might not necessarily fit the dress code that you are used to seeing in the masjid. And likewise, my brothers, you may see the local trapper walking into the masjid, right? Wallah, I've been getting a lot of drug dealers coming to the masajid. I mean, like some of the biggest drug dealers. Whenever I go to certain localities, right, around the country, is it right for you now to start giving them dirty looks, making them feel as if they don't belong in the masjid? You are gravely mistaken, my brothers and my sisters. Right? The month of Ramadan, the house of Allah is not just for people who are practicing. When Allah said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, fasting has been made an obligation upon you, He wasn't just speaking to the odai. You know the odai? The old man that you see seeing, the old man that you see sitting in the front of the masjid. Right? Allah was speaking to every individual of faith, of iman. Every individual of iman that considers himself a Muslim, whether he's a drug dealer, whether he is a murderer, whether he is a highway thief, or whatever it might be, Allah is speaking to them. Right? For you to start staring down at them, to start giving them dirty looks, you're gravely mistaken, brothers and sisters. Right? That sister that you see walking into the masjid might well be the first time she is walking into the masjid, or the first time she's putting on the hijab. And then you're giving her these weird looks. Oh, she only comes to the masjid every Ramadan. Or why is she here? Why are you here? Right? So going back to that incident I wanted to relate, my brothers, my sisters. This brother, a couple of years ago, when I would go to London to lead Taraweeh, maybe for a night or two, I would see him tagging along, wanting to be around. Right? He was fasting in the day and he was praying in the night. This is a drug dealer. Right? It's a drug dealer, brothers and sisters. When we came out of the month of Ramadan, I remember me and him sat down. And wallahi, brothers and sisters, he began to cry. He broke down into tears. You know what he said to me? My iman went sky high in the month of Ramadan. Of course, you do righteous deeds. When you do righteous deeds, your iman is bound to go up. Right? The aqidah, our belief as people who follow the Quran and Sunnah, is that iman goes up and down. Even you can testify to that. There are times when we are upbeat, right? There are times when we feel good. There are times when we want to do acts of worship and we want to increase on it. And there are times when we feel lousy. Agreed? That's what's mentioned in the Quran. Right? After the month of Ramadan, me and him sat down and he broke down into tears. He broke down into tears. I'll tell you guys what happened. He said at the beginning of Ramadan, I decided to cut off my girlfriend. I decided to cut off my girlfriend. Khalas, done, dusted. No more. Right? And he wanted to make change. This is how one's mindset should be. Right? When the month of Ramadan kicks in, we're not Ramadan Muslims, which means that we only practice when it's Ramadan, we switch off Netflix when it's Ramadan, we stop listening to music when it's Ramadan, and then as soon as Ramadan finishes, we're back to square one. Telling ourselves as soon as the day of Eid kicks in, I'm going to go back to my girlfriend. Wallahi al-Azim, brothers, I saw this screenshot on Twitter, the Bird app, for those who don't know. On Twitter, there was a screenshot of a sister sending a message to her boyfriend saying, as soon as the month of Ramadan kicks in, I don't want anything to do with you. I'll see you on Eid. And then everyone's commenting saying, MashaAllah. She's going to stay away from her boyfriend for 30 days. Allahu Akbar. Is that what the objective is, my brothers and my sisters? Right? That's a Ramadan type Muslim. As for someone who's maybe drug dealing or not wearing hijab or committing fahisha, clubbing or whatever have you, they want to use the month of Ramadan as a stepping stone to get better with the intention of continuing this. It's good. Even if they fall back into it later on down the line, that's a different situation. But this guy sincerely wanted to better himself. That's good. Right? So this brother, this relative of mine, I could see he really had these intentions. ماذا حصل? What happened? Cut her off. He's not drug dealing. Fasting in the day and he's praying in the night. Your iman's going to go up, my friend. Right? ماذا حصل? And this is how the shaitan operates. The shaitan, my brothers and sisters, is very, very subtle in his tricks. Right? Very subtle. In the way he maneuvers. He's not going to say to you, Akhi, this is haram, go and do it. La, he's not going to say that to you. He's going to try and beautify it for you. Just like he beautified the sin for our parents, Adam and Eve. Not Adam and Steve, Adam and Eve. Okay? وَقَاسَمَهُمَا إِنِّي لَكُمَا لَمِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. He took an oath, he swore, I am a sincere advisor to you both. Eat from the tree and you'll be from the Khalideen. You'll be from those who stay in Al-Jannah forever and ever. Isn't this what he said, guys? I think everyone knows the story, right? Came to Adam and Eve, Hawa, and said, you eat from the apple tree, you eat from the tree here in Jannah, you'll be in paradise forever. And then what happened? I think everybody knows. They were thrown out of paradise because Allah Azza wa Jalla told them, don't come near that tree. Right? Don't get anywhere near the tree. And then the shaitan tricked them. تفضل أخي بس please. And if there isn't space, we'll make space for you, Sheikh. Yeah. Anyone else outside? Anyone else who's outside, come in, there's enough space here. And this is exactly, my brothers and my sisters, what happened to this brother. On the day of Eid, he gets a phone call. That's when the shaitan gets released, huh? Just go to Ladypool Road in Birmingham. I don't know if you guys have a road over here where everybody goes running to on the day of Eid, causing mayhem. Do you guys have a road like this here?
London Road.
Huh?
London Road.
London Road. London Road, guys, huh? Or Wilmslow Road in Manchester. You guys heard of that road? A'udhu billahi minha. I seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jalla from that road. Anyways, gets a phone call on the day of Eid. His girlfriend calls him. Guess what she says? Can you come over? I want to talk to you about making it halal. That's how the shaitan operates. Drives down, parks up. Within a couple of minutes, they have committed a zina, haram in his car. I'm not finished. Here comes the catch and the moral of what I'm mentioning, my brothers and my sisters. You know what he said to me? All that hard work, you know, his iman going sky high. All that hard work, he says to me, went crashing down into the ground. Crashing down into the ground. And he began to cry. I began to feel spiritually dead and empty. Right? This is a drug dealer saying this, my brothers and my sisters. I then said to him, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا يزني الزاني حين يزني وهو مؤمن. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, when one commits a zina, his iman is uplifted from him. right? He is not a true believer. What does that mean? That he becomes a kafir, that he becomes a gal, that he becomes a non-Muslim? No. Major sins don't take you out the fold of Islam. As long as you have your tawheed, your monotheism, and you carry out these major sins, you still have the foundation of your faith. Does that make sense? But what this means is, the iman is lifted from that individual. If your iman was sky high, you know there are certain things that we do, causes our iman, come in brother, the space here, causes our faith to diminish. It comes down slowly, slowly, slowly. Agreed? However, there are certain actions, when you're feeling so great, so spiritually up, right? It causes it to be destroyed because of certain actions that we do. That might well explain, my brothers and my sisters, as to why we feel so down, we feel so spiritually dead and empty. That might explain it. Are you brothers and sisters with me? Right? I know, and you know, my brothers and my sisters, that we have this kind of condition that we're dealing with. We look for different mechanisms to cope with the spiritual emptiness that we have. It might be a phone. Some of us are sitting on TikTok all day, right? Am I wrong to say that? On TikTok all day, watching comedy videos, watching filth and rubbish, just scrolling, 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 scrolling. That's how the day goes by. Agreed? Because of there being a void, we're looking for something to fill that. And not just that, there are other coping mechanisms that we have. Let's go into it quickly, inshallah ta'ala. And today I'm going to be reading out so many, right, cases and conditions of people that we both know, that I took from websites such as the Daily Mail, the Daily Mirror. I collect the lifestyles of some of these celebrities, right, well-known famous individuals that we might admire and look up to. I'll read it inshallah ta'ala. Really want to share it with you guys so that you come down to reality and realize, my brothers and my sisters, that this type of lifestyle that some of us are admiring, that are looking up to, that we really badly want, it's money that we're chasing after, which will destroy us, right, so quickly, is not the answer to fill that void. Have you ever thought, my brothers and my sisters, as to why the sports industry is $1 billion industry? I've mentioned this before. Some of you guys may have heard me mention this. The sports industry, would you agree, is $1 billion industry? Why? Making a lot of money. I'll tell you guys why. Likewise, the music industry is $1 billion industry. $1 billion industry. Did you know also the entertainment industry is $1 billion industry, sah? Hollywood, Bollywood, Somaliwood, Qadar. It's $1 billion industry, right? Likewise, adult content. The filth and the pornography that people watch today, it's $1 billion industry. The games industry. Put your hand up, you got PS5. No, there's much more than that. Why you guys? I think everyone here has got PS5. Games industry, would you agree it's $1 billion industry? The drugs industry, the drugs, $1 billion industry. Did you know, my brothers and my sisters, cocaine? You guys heard of cocaine, sir? It's called Britain's open secret. Britain's open secret. Who do you think is consuming it? You think the local nitty that you see rolling around at the bus stop when you come out of tahajjud or tarawih? You think he's the only one that's consuming the drugs and cocaine and weed and whatever? You think only him? Professionals who are on 100k plus every year, politicians, lawyers, solicitors, they are also consuming Britain's open secret, cocaine. Right? But then they turn a blind eye. Right? Offices, People with very high positions, they are consuming drugs. Likewise, alcohol, billion-dollar industry. I always say this, brothers and sisters, they drink to forget, we do dhikr to remember. Good. They drink to make themselves forget the problems that they go through. I remember there was a time when I was working for Talk. You guys heard of Talk? Internet company. I was smashing it. Making a lot, alhamdulillah. COVID period. When I came back from Medina, there was no jobs, there was nothing. They gave me a job. It was actually my manager's manager, who was mashallah practicing guy. He was like, just walk in. Taymiyyah, come. When everyone else had to go through an interview process. I probably set up some of your internet, Allahu A'lam, over the phone. But at the time, I was there. There's a lot of Muslims in that place. It was around that time, my brothers and my sisters, when my brother got stabbed in the neck, passed away. And it was a big deal in the workplace as well, because quite a few people from the workplace knew him. Long story cut short, I remember when I walked in, I think like a week after he passed away, the supervisor came up to me and said, I really commend how you're dealing with it. If that was me, I'd probably drink myself to sleep. I thought perfect opportunity now to give da'wah to this non-Muslim supervisor. Wallahi al-Azim, the supervisor said, if that was me, I would drink myself to sleep. This is what they do. Right? This is what they do. Steven Gerrard, You guys know Steven Gerrard? When he got sacked, they took a picture of him. He was sitting in a pub, drinking himself. Right? This is what they do, guys. When they go through problems and hardships, how do we deal with it? What is our coping mechanism? What did the Prophet ﷺ used to do? He would do dhikr. What else? What would he rush to? Salah. كان إذا حزبه أمر فزع إلى الصلاة. Whenever, right, he was struck with some hardship and difficulty, he would go and run to the salah, brothers and sisters. Right? At the time, of course, there's things that we learn in theory, but then there has to come a time when we practically apply it. Praying, wallahi, did not feel greater, right, at any time in my life than that one. Right? Where you just get up and you start praying, and it's a coping mechanism to deal with that hardship and that void, or that spiritual emptiness, that unfulfillment that one may be going through. Right? All of these industries, they are billion-dollar industries. Lesh, why, guys? I'll tell you, because they are feeding off the sadness of human beings. When you think about it, take all of these industries out of the equation. What kind of life are you going to be living? I'll say that again, guys. You take football, sports, all of these different industries out of the equation, what kind of life will you be living? Or what kind of life will these non-Muslims be living? I reckon, you know what they'll do, brothers and sisters? They'll go and commit suicide. Right? I've spoken to enough multi-millionaires, my brothers and my sisters, to conclude that if you have all the money in the world, right? You have all the money in the world, and you have free time, and you've got nothing to do, you will drive yourself crazy, and eventually you'll go and commit suicide. This is why, and you don't have to agree with me, right? You know how you have Jeff Bezos and also Elon Musk, they're trying to go where? They're trying to go to Mars. Shall I tell you guys why they're trying to do that? Because they're bored of Earth. They are bored. Right? Why are they bored? Because they've had everything. The way Allah has created your heart, brothers and sisters, it craves for its creator. That's how Allah has created our hearts. It needs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That connection between you and Allah Jalla fi ula. This is what the heart needs. Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Allah told us this. And through the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal, this is how the hearts will feel content and will experience that joy. Right? in the Prophet ﷺ's masjid. When I was there for 6 years. I've sat down in front of guys who are maybe earning £20,000 a month, maybe even more than that. Some of them were multi-millionaires. You know what they would say to me? And I'm only getting 800 riyals, guys. You know how much that is? £170 a month. That was the monthly allowance that the university would give us. They would say to me, you know what they say to me? Wallahi, I wish I was in your position. I'm getting all this money, but still I feel like something's missing. I feel like something is missing. Right? It's not rocket science to figure out, my brothers and my sisters, as to why this is actually the case. You know, I could have sat here and just quoted verses from the Quran, but a lot of the time, especially with the Gen Zs, right? You tell them a verse, well, I just falls onto deaf ears. You have to mention that which they can relate to, which I'm coming on to. Allah gave us the answer 1400 years ago, my brothers and my sisters. It is clear and explicit in His noble Quran. Okay, Allah says, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ. Make space for the brother. Make space for the brothers, guys, huh? If we can maybe just move, look, there's some acre of space right here. Yeah, come here. Gonna make space for you, don't worry. Huh? There's some space here. Feel free to come and sit there, inshallah. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قيل لكم تفسحوا في المجالس. And in some قراءات it is what في المجلس فافسحوا يفسح الله لكم. وإذا قيل انشزوا فانشزوا يرفع الله الذين آمنوا. In another قراءة. Allah Azza wa Jal here is saying, right, if it is said to you, make space, Allah Azza wa Jal will make space for you. Right? Does that make sense? We want Allah Azza wa Jal to have mercy upon us, right? To provide us with His forgiveness. Make space for people. Allah, honestly, my brothers and my sisters, to see all of you guys here, honestly, is very, very heartwarming. Really is. Right? You guys could have been doing a lot of things. I normally check BBC Sports before I do a lecture. Is there a football game on or not? Today I believe Manchester United is playing. Around the same time as the lecture. Sahih? You guys sacrificed the Man United game to come to the house of Allah. It's good. It's amazing. It's worth mentioning. Right? Put your phone on airplane mode because I don't want anyone checking the score while the lecture's going on. Airplane mode, guys. Anyways, the point that I was making was what? Allah told us this in the Quran, guys. Right? وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ. Whoever turns away from Allah's remembrance, this person will going to give him that depressed, sad, miserable life. Also in Surah Al-Nahl, Allah says, من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة. Whoever from the male and the female, believers, they do righteous deeds, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them that good life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them that good, wonderful, happy, content life. Does that make sense? As if you do what Allah told you to do. Right? And the greatest acts of worship, my brothers and my sisters, is to learn about Allah. It is to learn about Allah Jalla fi'ula. This is when your tawheed comes in. You know, people always ask me, why is it that when the sin presents itself, I fall into it straight away, but my blood brother, or my relative, or my friend, or that guy that comes to the masjid, the sin presents itself in front of him, but he doesn't fall into it. Guys, make more space. There's some space here for them. There's some space over there. Some space over there.
Inshallah, can the volunteers make some space, inshallah? And some brothers with the high-vis jackets.
Can the volunteers help out with this, inshallah ta'ala? Because I've cut the lecture, I think 5-6 times. Sheikh. No, let us.
Tell them make sure everyone's parked responsibly, inshallah.
No double parking, guys, huh? I think some people may have double parked. It's you and the parking guy. Anyways, the point that I was making, we mentioned here Allah is going to give you a good life when you come with Iman and when you come with righteous deeds. The greatest of righteous deeds, my brothers and my sisters, that will help you navigate around the glitters and the glamours of this world is to learn about Allah. Like I gave you guys the example, people are always asking, why is it that when this sin presents itself, I fall into it straight away? But when so-and-so sees that sin unfolding in front of him, he doesn't fall into it. I'll tell you guys what it is. And this, my brothers and my sisters, is the crux of the matter. Right? The only source of knowledge that we have of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? His names and attributes that were mentioned to us in the Quran. The more you learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my brothers and my sisters, right, the more you hesitate when it comes to disobeying Him. I'll say that again. The more you learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more you hesitate when it comes to displeasing and disobeying Allah. Are you brothers and sisters with me? It's as simple as that. Let me ask you guys a question. You know the girl that you're pursuing for marriage? Why are you pursuing, right, this lady for marriage? Because you came to know that she is good in this way and she's good in that way. She has this characteristic, she has that quality, and so on and so forth. Right? Guys, don't focus on the door. Don't get distracted by what you see at the door. Listen to what I'm saying. Are you guys with me? He's just carrying, I don't know, ماذا تريدون? You guys see it every day. Are you brothers with me? Our only source of knowledge that we have of Allah is His names and His attributes. So this lady, you're pursuing her, why? Because you came to know about her qualities and her characteristics and traits. As you're getting closer to the date of the wedding, you come to know that she, mashallah, prays at night. You're thinking to yourself, I've just hit the jackpot. Sahih. You want her even more now. Why do you want her more? Because you came to know about she has this and she has that. Agreed? Not that I'm trying to compare this lady now to Allah Azza wa Jal. But when you learn that Allah is able to do this for you or do that for you through His names and His attributes, Wallahi alladhi la ilaha ghayru, becomes almost impossible not to love Allahu Jalla fi'ula and to increase in your worship of Him, or thinking twice about disobeying the one who's providing for you. I'll give you guys an example. Ar-Razaq, the name Ar-Razaq, the ultimate provider. Wallahi, if we knew this name properly and we actualized it, we would never ever think about eating haram. Never. Never, brothers and sisters. Or cheating the government or selling drugs. Never ever would we think about doing that. Are you guys with me? Likewise, when we look at the name Hakim, the all-wise, أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِينَ, right? Allah, who is all-wise. Things go wrong in our lives. And we're thinking to ourselves, why always me? Why always me, right? Let me ask you a question. How many a time have you been in a position where you thought to yourself, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have this today? Sahih. We thought that was the bad thing for us. And it happens a lot when pursuing marriage. You really badly want her, but it didn't work out. And to make it even worse, your best friend got married to her. He snatched her from under your nose. Princess Charming is gone. And then later on, subhanAllah, a girl comes along with characteristics and traits that the mind couldn't imagine. Am I wrong to say that, brothers and sisters? The mind couldn't imagine. And then that's when you say, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have this today. based on the ultimate wisdom of Allahu Jalla fi'ula. To conclude my lecture, my brothers and my sisters, let me read out that which I'm hoping inshallah ta'ala will really make you tick and think. Have you guys heard of Jesse Lingard? Who's Jesse Lingard? Ex-Man United footballer who can't get into the Nottingham Forest team now. Sahih? Nottingham is around the corner from here, sahih? It's a bit. No, it's not around the corner. Are you brothers and sisters with me? Look what I found on the news. Nottingham Forest Jesse Lingard says he turned to alcohol to try and take the pain away as he struggled with his career at Manchester United. What did I mention before? They drink to forget, we do dhikr to remember. Have you guys heard of Jim Carrey? Who's Jim Carrey? Canadian / American comedian / actor. He said, I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything that they ever dreamed of so that they can see that it's not the answer. Hear it from the horse's mouth. The lifestyle, my brothers and my sisters, that we really, really badly want, right? Or we feel that we are being deprived from. Religion of Islam is so rough and tough and harsh, right? That's how we think sometimes. It's causing us to miss out on what all these non-Muslims have. Seems like they're enjoying life, huh? Well, that's what you thought, my friend. That's what you thought. This is Jim Carrey for you, my brothers and my sisters. Have you guys heard of Francesco Totti? I don't think you Gen Z guys know. Our Sheikh who's standing up, huh? He's smiling because he knows. Even some of the elders, they know who I'm talking about. Francesco Totti used to play for Roma. He spent his whole career with Roma. Big shot. The 45-year-old retired footballer in 2017 has admitted that he struggled to cope without being out on the pitch. Because this was their life. Their lives were filled with that which would make them tick was none other than football, training, come home, club, go back to football, pick up your money, spend it. But that's not going to last forever, right? He says he struggled to cope without being out on the pitch. And then he lost his father to COVID in October 2020. During these challenging times, he feels that his wife was not there to comfort him. With all of the millions that he acquired, he couldn't find solace, right, around his wife. Even though he can get any woman that he wants. In that time, his wife wasn't there for him. He hit rock bottom. Let me tell you guys about some of these multi-millionaires who won the lottery. We're not talking about 1 million, 2 million guys that he's won. Huh? Lotto lout Michael Carroll makes a double suicide attempt after squandering 9.7 million jackpot. Carroll, an alcoholic who is now on benefits. He's picking up benefits. After blowing his winnings on drugs and high living, was taken by ambulance to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in nearby King's Lynn. The Daily Mail states about 70% of people who suddenly receive a windfall of cash will lose it within a few years, according to the National Endowment for Financial Education. Huh? This is what they sell for us. This is what they sell to us on Instagram, right? right? All these drug dealers, all these rappers, all these trappers, huh? All these actors who are flashing their lives. Brothers and sisters, you know these guys with blue ticks? What does that mean, blue tick? Verified. Abu Taymiyyah is not verified yet. Huh? On Instagram? Ajib. I have to pay for one, huh? This is, I'm talking about when they would only give it to certified, verified individuals on Instagram. They would message me. I click on their profile and I'm thinking to myself, what does he want from me? Seems like he's living a life, flashing his cars, flashing his bling, flashing whatever else he's doing, right? And it's cash as well, he's doing this with his cash. Looks like he's living a life. Couple of sentences in, brothers and sisters. You know what he's sending me? The yellow emoji. You know the yellow emoji? With the tears. Please, brother, help. What help does he need? I feel like I'm lost. I feel spiritually dead and empty. Right? Have you guys heard of Tony Adams? Huh? Tony Adams? Sheikh? Huh?
I know Tony Adams, yeah.
Yeah, who's Tony Adams?
He's the Arsenal captain.
He was the previous Arsenal captain. Centre back. He was like the Dutch guy who plays for Liverpool. What's his name? Van Dijk. Van Dijk. That's it. How many Premier League did he win? Does anyone know?
One.
Won a few, I think. Was it? No, Tony Adams. This is what Tony Adams says. Tony Adams has admitted to binging on burgers and milkshakes to fill the void on Saturdays. Because Saturday is what? It's the big day, sah? Saturday Premier League, right? The 56-year-old ex-Arsenal star says even 20 years since he retired, he misses the match day buzz. And he admits sometimes gorging on junk food to make himself feel better. You know, I mentioned earlier, looking for different things now to fill that void. He says, I get a little bit sad on Saturdays. I used to get a fix on the Saturdays. You get into routines. I'd go and have a Byron burger. I don't even know what kind of burger there is. And an Oreo milkshake all of a sudden as a reward. Euro Millions winner, 56 years of age. Her name was Maggie Millions. That's what they called her. Margaret. How much did she win? £27 million. The jackpot was. She said, this jackpot, it destroyed her life. She was found dead in her Belfast home. Police say the death of Maggie Millions is not suspicious. She spent all her fortune on property and good causes. Right? That's what she was doing. Right? Lack of faith and kufr. No matter what you have, brothers and sisters. Likewise, I have written down here Adriano. Guys heard of Adriano? He's played for Inter Milan. He netted 74 goals in 177 matches for Inter Milan. Right? Before injuries and the death of his father caused his whole life to go upside down. He was raised in Rio de Janeiro, toughest favelas. Right? He went into depression and also into booze. The forward, he used to play up front, right? Mentioned in an interview with R7 magazine, I felt very, very lonely. After my father's death, everything got worse because I isolated myself. I was alone in Italy and depressed and I started drinking. I only felt happy when I was drinking. I'd do it every night. Huh? You'd feel happy for a little bit and then you'll go into depression. And he'd do it every single night. I drank everything I could get my hands on. Wine, whiskey, vodka, beer, lots of beer. This is the reality of the matter, my brothers and my sisters. You even have that famous pop star, Britney Spears. Allahu A'lam, if you guys know what I'm talking about. The elders do. I saw a clip that was sent to me. You know what she was saying when being interviewed? And this woman, she was like, who's the famous female rapper now? Huh? Iceberg. Huh? Ice Spice. Ice Spice, huh? Is that lady? She was like the Ice Spice, aka Iceberg, huh? Right? At the time, Wallahi, you know what she said? She's being interviewed, what do you want? She goes, I just want men to stop touching me. I just want men to stop touching me. This is what she said, guys. She got tired. It's not going to give you that contentment. You will get miserable. It doesn't fill that void, guys. It really, really doesn't. We feel, oh, we're missing out, huh? Clubbing, huh? Seems like they're having fun. Seems like they're enjoying themselves. Brothers, I read all this out to you guys. They are just looking for different ways to fill that void. Right? That spiritual emptiness cannot be filled. It can't. With other than the remembrance of Allah Jalla fi'ala. Right? Likewise, all of these YouTubers that we have, Logan Paul, KSI, who else? Add Mr. Beast to it. Huh? Fuzi Tube likewise. Justin Bieber. Right. And this is not me just making it up, guys. Wallahi al-Azim, I saw clips and I sent it to my little brother Ibrahim. It's like, Ibrahim, what do you think? You know what they were all saying? Even though they're filthy rich, they have all the women, they've got all the cars. What they also have in common is that they are living double lives. In front of the camera, they are different to what happens really behind closed doors. Does that make sense? All of them admitting, right, how they are depressed, how they live different lives. Some of them even cry themselves to sleep. Fusi Chub, wallahi, I heard him say this. They interviewed him before his boxing match. You know his recent boxing match? Maybe some time ago now. He was being interviewed. How are you feeling? You know what he said? I couldn't feel any better. I stopped drinking. I stopped masturbating. I stopped abusing drugs. Right? And I'm staying on top of my salah. This is what he's saying. This individual who's announced his kufr, his apostasy so many times, right? Am I lying about him? He would make it good. I'm leaving Islam. I've left Islam. I've got bipolar. And we're sitting around watching these guys feeling great, right? And oh, I wish I had that. Right? It's the reality of the matter. I sent it to my little brother. What do you think? Oh, subhanAllah, man. They're living double lives. Just the other day, someone sent me a video of Chunks. You guys know Chunks, right? It was this watch, whatever. It's all what? What was he saying? He was saying it's forced. It doesn't even bring me happiness. Oh, kama qal. And again, I sent it to my little brother. Right? هكذا الدنيا. No matter how much money you've acquired, right, through haram means, right, it's all the same. I have these drug dealers sitting in front of me all the time. Akhi, they drive down with these big Range Rovers, look like they're living a life, and then he's sitting there feeling so down, so upset, so miserable. Does that make sense? Right. I'm done, my brothers and my sisters. I want to recap on one point. Right. Earlier we mentioned a verse about how to acquire the happy life. When will Allah give you a happy life? What was the verse that I quoted from Surah An-Nahl? Man amila, whoever from the male and the female who are believers, they come with iman and they also do what? Righteous deeds. Allah will give them the happy life, right? What was the best righteous deed that I mentioned? To learn about Allah. The more you learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's only a source of knowledge that we have of Allah, and this is your tawheed, guys, the more you will be in awe, the more you will glorify and venerate Allah Jalla fi'ula. And then when that sin presents itself, wallahi al-azim, the more conscious you are of Allah, the more you will hesitate when it comes to carrying out that sin. But if you don't know anything about Allah, right, it's just another name on the list to you, right? There are people that we respect in this world because of their money, because of how well they've done in this world. You respect them, why? Because of his qualifications, because of his social status. Sah? Because of what you know about them. Again, I'm not trying to compare your boss or your head teacher that you're so terrified of because of his position to Allah Azza wa Jal. But you only behave like that around them because of his social status. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. The more you learn about Allah, wallahi, brothers and sisters, the better position you're going to be in. And a lot of these sins that we fall into, right, will not happen. It will not happen. And that is because our bond, our tawheed, our monotheism has become strengthened. And this is why I suggest that we take a book in tawheed and we start learning it, brothers. Right. I will stop there, inshaAllah ta'ala. I've still got a long day ahead of me. I have to go to Bedford, I'm leading Taraweeh, then I have to be back in Leicester to do Tahajjud. Right. I would love to give every single one of you guys a handshake and a hug and a kiss on the forehead. Brothers and sisters, all of you guys, inshallah ta'ala, are going to stay behind to listen to our Shaykh Abdullah for his lecture. Right? Inshallah, you guys will get a minute or two break. You can do star jumps in that period and sit back down to get the blood running again. Are you guys with me? Don't leave the masjid. Inshallah ta'ala, he has a very important topic that he wants to speak to you guys about, and I'm going to have to show off. I love you all for the sake of Allah. It's always a pleasure to come to Sheffield. As they mentioned, this is our masjid. I also have my sister that lives here, so it's a perfect opportunity to kill a couple of birds with one stone. Right? May Allah bless you all. Jazakumullah khairan. Father, think about what I said. Think about it very deeply. Right? Ramadan is going to finish. We're just going to be back to square one again. Don't waste the remaining days that you have. Don't destroy your Ramadan on the day of Eid. The goodness that we feel will just go like that. On the day of Eid, you advise that brother, he said, Akhi, stop being haram, please. Why you always, rough and tough? And it's just one day, let me enjoy myself. Like, go do as you wish. Every single Eid, I hear about someone who died with alcohol in his mouth. Or died, he was blasting music in the car that he rented out. Every Eid, guys. Car crash, or he was in a room with the opposite gender. Just the other day, guys, I received a clip of one of these princes in the Gulf areas that passed away. You know how he passed away? Huh? Jazakallah khair. He died the way when there were people doing collective zina. Huh? That's how he passed away, guys. It's not surprising when you live that kind of life that you're going to die like that. That's common sense. When you do something a lot, you're very likely going to die like that. If you're always on TikTok, what's the likelihood that you'll die on TikTok? It's common sense. If you're always praying, always doing good, what's the likelihood that you'll die like that? Very common. Right? جزاكم الله خيرا وأحسن الله إليكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. And until next time, I just want to tell you guys I love you all for the sake of Allah. If Allah does not bring us back together in this world, I ask Allah to reunite us in the highest part of Jannah. Again, I just want to thank the Masjid again for facilitating this at such short notice. You guys all came, subhanAllah, within less than 36 hours. That's something again that you guys are commended for. جزاكم الله خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب